Words at War. Citizens, I'm going to tell you a story. A story of 4 chaplains of the United States Army. 4 chaplains who, in the early hours of a February morning, made a strong and beautiful bid. Chaplain Clark Poling, north.
I'll pass.
Chaplain John Washington, east.
I'll bid 4 clubs.
Chaplain George Fox, south.
I'll pass.
Chaplain Alexander Good, west.
I'll bid 4 hearts.
4 men, 2 Protestant ministers, 1 Jewish rabbi, 1 Catholic priest. 4 men made a bid. And a grateful nation will remember this night, and for all time, that the bid was 4 hearts.
The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime, presents another Words at War program. Tonight, it's an adaptation, a portion of Captain Elwood C. Nance's book, Faith of Our Fighters. Our radio story, particularly timely today because of Brotherhood Week, concerns 4 clergymen. And appropriately, it was written for this series by a clergyman, by Father Timothy Mulvey, who submitted his script under the 5-word title, The Bid Was 4 Hearts.
You were sleeping those cold February nights, citizens. You were sleeping quietly. And while you were sleeping, citizens, the big gray shadows were out on the water. Convoy, they call it. Convoy moving in the night, carrying men and material for the United Nations. Convoy stepping cautiously over gray waters that are treacherous with submarines. Below the deck of the troop transport Dorchester, 4 chaplains are sitting in officers' quarters. Then suddenly there's a knock on the door.
Is this the chaplain's quarters?
Oh, step right in, Jimmy.
Oh, boy, it's nice and warm down here. If you ask me, chaplains, this North Atlantic ain't so hot. I'm standing up there on deck looking for submarines, and what do I get?
What do you get, Jimmy?
I get me nose froze.
By the way, gentlemen, I'd like you to meet our new orderly. Jimmy, this is Chaplain Good.
How do you do?
Glad to know you, Jimmy.
And this is Chaplain Fox, and over here, Chaplain Poling.
How are you, Jimmy?
Glad to know you.
Yeah, pleased to meet you. By the way, I got the altar all fixed up nice, Father Washington. What I want to know now is who follows who in the church services.
Well, I'm saying Mass at 7 o'clock, Jimmy.
I know that, Father. But, what I want to know is, does the Jewish service follow you, or does the Protestant?
Well, perhaps Chaplain Poling might explain.
If you don't mind, Jimmy, you can arrange the altar for Protestant services after Chaplain Washington says Mass.
I get you.
Is that agreeable to you, Chaplain Good?
Perfectly all right with me. I'm holding my service at 6. If it doesn't make any difference to Chaplain Fox.
Why, no, not at all.
Now, let me get this straight. In other words, chaplains, first it's the Jewish service at 6 o'clock with no cross and the altar turned around, right?
Right.
Then it's the Catholic service at 7 o'clock with the cross and the altar turned around the other way, right?
Right.
Then it's the Protestant service with, let me see, the altar turned around the other way again, right? And then, you know, chaplains, this would be a heck of a lot easier for me if you would all only get together sometime.
The convoy moved steadily to the north. And now that they were approaching Greenland, the escort destroyers were beginning to tighten their screening lines. The destroyers were getting nervous now. And a certain skipper was getting nervous, too.
It's as black as pitch out there tonight, Jackson.
Yes, sir.
Any other reports?
You mean about the submarines?
Yes.
Oh, no, sir, nothing. But we're running into high seas, sir.
Sure we're running into high seas. What did you expect with a wind like that? Let's see the chart.
Yes, sir.
Getting pretty close to Greenland.
Yes, sir.
But not close enough to suit me.
Well, what do you mean, sir?
Right now, Jackson, we're riding deep in Germany's North Atlantic submarine zone. And when you've got a wind like this in your face, a submarine can do funny things.
And these were the sounds that night. The large sounds of wind and waves. The small, friendly sounds of lifeboats swinging on the davits. The muffled, gray sound of boots keeping vigil on the bridge. And then the night gets very quiet in the North Atlantic. It gets very quiet in the dark cabin. The chaplain has time to lie in his bunk and remember. Chaplain Poling was remembering that night.
Oh, Chaplain Poling. They call me Chaplain. Somehow in this dark room, the memory of that first fear comes back to me now. I remember how you looked at me, Dad, when I, your young minister, opened the door that day.
What's the matter, Clark?
Dad, I'm no good. I'm a failure.
Well, what's the trouble?
A man's dying now, and I can't help him.
Did you try?
Yes, but I just couldn't help him.
But maybe you tried too much, Clark.
What do you mean?
I mean, did you give God a chance?
Well,
Now, you go on back, son. Go back to that man, and remember, you're nothing but an instrument in God's hands.
I'll never forget that, Dad. Never. An instrument in his hands. That's all you are, Clark Poling. Dear God, help me always to be your instrument. And watch over Corky and Thumper and Dad. Watch over Betty and all of us tonight.
Four men in a room had time for remembering that night. And always the memories ran straight to home. A young rabbi was remembering that night.
Chaplain Good, they call me. Funny. Lying here in this room, I wonder why. And yet I don't wonder why. I know the reason, I suppose. The reason could go back to a day in French class. I'm thinking of you now, Teresa, my lovely wife. I remember how you looked that first day I spoke to you back at Eastern. We were just kids. Mind if I sit next to you, Miss Flax?
No.
I forgot my French book. I thought maybe I might look on with someone.
Oh, I see. This is the second time you forgot your French book, Mr. Good.
I know. I might forget it tomorrow, too. Yes, we were very young. But even then, Teresa, I knew I wanted to be near you always. I wanted to be near everything that's good. I wanted to be happy. I guess that's it in a nutshell. Wanting to be happy. Everyone wants to be happy. Everyone. Oh, God, my Father, look down on us tonight. Look down on Rosalie and Ruth and Ethel and my wife, Teresa. And God, help us all. Help all men to find ultimate happiness.
Yes, there was time for remembering aboard a troop transport. And while men were remembering, the convoy was moving north. Another day came. Another day passed. There was an entertainment.
As Master of Ceremonies, it now gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our next act. But before I do, fellas, me being the Master of Ceremonies, it's up to me to, tell a little story. All right. This happened back in boot camp, fellas. You remember the way Butch Brannigan used to play the piano? Well, Butch knew everything on the piano. There was nothing you could think of that Butch couldn't play. Butch's repertory had everything from Jingle Bells to Shoot the Sherbet to me Herbert. Anyway, And Butch also used to sing some funny songs. You know what I mean? Well, anyway, he used to sing them until one day the chaplain heard him. And the chaplain didn't like them songs Butch was singing. So he walks up to Butch, who was playing a piano, see? And he says, young man, do you know the 10 Commandments? Butch looked at the chaplain, scratched his head, and said, you got me there, buddy, but if you whistle a couple of bars, I think I'll be able to follow you.
Those were the sounds that night, citizens. They were happy sounds. And there was silence, too, later. The silence that always returned in the night, left a man alone with his remembering. Chaplain Fox was remembering that night.
Chaplain Fox, they call me. They weren't too sure of me the first time they saw me. I remember how they looked when they asked me the question.
You're a Methodist minister?
Yes, sir.
George Fox, born in Lewiston, Pennsylvania. 1900, is it?
Yes, sir.
1900. Don't you think you're a bit, old for Army service, sir?
Oh, I don't think so, sir.
Quite a rigorous life, you know.
Yes, I suspect that, sir.
I suppose you also know that a chaplain's life will be far different from, shall we say, the congenial surroundings of a parish in Vermont?
I quite understand, sir.
I wonder if you quite understand.
Oh, I think I understand war, if that's what you mean.
You do understand war?
Yes, sir.
So many people think they do.
Well, I was engaged in active duty with the 2nd Division, World War I, wounded in combat, sir.
Oh.
Received a Purple Heart.
Well.
Silver Star.
My.
A Croix de Guerre with palms, sir.
Yes, with palms.
I also have a son who was a Marine in this war, sir.
Yes, of course.
You see, I think I do understand war, sir.
Naturally.
You laughed when I told you that, Mary Elizabeth. Yes. I'd like to see the sun shining again in Gilman, Vermont, Lord. I'd love to see it again. The sunshine and the hills. Mary Elizabeth and Wyatt. And you, my wife. Yes, it'll be a great day, Lord, when this old fox can come home to all his cubs again.
Gray ships were still moving north, and the slow procedure on the high seas was being written in the log. But there were some things that were not written on the log. Jimmy, the chaplain's orderly, was shining candlesticks that afternoon when somebody knocked.
Come in. Well, what can I do for you, Sergeant?
I was looking for one of the chaplains.
The chaplain's is busy. What do you want?
Well, it's about a letter I wrote to my girlfriend.
Your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Well, for crying out loud, what do you want the chaplains for?
Well, it's,
Oh, I get you. Oh, you mean you want a little help, sort of?
Yeah, that's right. I don't know spelling so good.
Well, why didn't you say so in the first place? Here, give me the letter. I'll give it the okay for you, Sergeant.
Hey, here you are.
I happen to know a little something about this sort of thing, me being an orderly.
Look, don't get that envelope dirty.
Okay, take it easy. I'll wipe me hands. You know, Sergeant, being a chaplain's orderly, you get to know how to handle these minor details. In fact, 2 more weeks hanging around these chaplains, I'll be able to give out what a sermon myself. Okay, where's the letter?
Here. And be careful. It took me 3 hours to do it.
Let me see now. Where is...
On the other page.
Oh, here we are. Dear Toots. Toots, Sergeant. Is that her name?
Well, that's what I call her.
Sergeant, you know Toots is no name for a self-respectful dame. She was baptized, wasn't she?
Well, I guess so.
Baptism is a sacrament, in case you don't know, Sergeant.
Yeah?
So call her by her baptismal name, see?
Okay.
Okay. Now, what is her baptismal name?
Marcella.
Oh, that's a nice name, Sergeant. And here, I'll write it for you. M-A-R... just for the fun of it, how would you spell Marcella, Sergeant?
You got me.
Dear Toots, how you feeling? I'm fine. I hope you are the same. About getting married when I get back, Are you going to marry this dame, Sergeant?
You bet I am when I get back.
Is she a good girl?
Good?
You know what I mean?
Sure she's good. Why do you think...
All right. Keep your shirt on. I'm only trying to tell you, Sergeant, that the only kind of a girl worth coming home to is a good girl. The chaplains will tell you the same thing.
Yes, the chaplains will tell you. The chaplains told you many things. And in the quiet hours, a chaplain has time to tell himself something.
Chaplain Washington, they call me. The altar boys call me Father John. There was a time when I thought I'd never get quite used to being called Father. And times when I wondered what it meant to be a priest. What has it meant to be a priest? Well, being a priest means many things. It means you, Lord. The eyes and lips and mouth of you. Speaking again those words over bread and wine. That's my Mass. My priesthood is you, Lord, in the long hours of the confessional. That's the way you wanted it, Lord. Whose sins you shall loose. That's what you said. Well, I have loosed. I have liberated. Oh, my good God. I, a sinner, have lifted my hand in absolution. Yes, it's many things being a priest. It's the babies I've washed clean with your baptism. The boys and girls I've fed with the bread of life. The young men and women I've made one in the lasting bonds of your marriage. It's the weary heads and hands I've touched with the strong oils of your extreme unction. Oh, gentle Christ, thanks for all this. And especially thanks for her. Mom. I see your lovely face in this dark room. And I'm remembering a morning long ago in the kitchen. I was trying to break the news to you.
John, what seems to be troubling you?
Mom, would it make much difference if I mean...
You mean you want to go away to be a priest?
Yes.
Sure, and didn't I know it all the while?
Well, it'll mean a lot of work and worry for you, Mom. I mean, all the kids at home and everything, and well...
John, what greater blessing could I work and worry for than to see you someday? John, I used to dream about seeing a son of mine a priest. I dreamed it 1,000 times or more, even when you were that small, John. And I was thinking it'd be a great day, John. Sitting there with your father in the front pew, with the candles lit, and the incense floating like a white cloud over your head, with the altar boys in their red cassocks, and the grand organ filling the church. I was thinking that'd be the great day, when I could look up and say, there he is. There he is. Me own Father John.
That's the way you said it, Mom. Oh, God. Look over a little house tonight on South 12th Street. Look over my mother and all mothers. And you, Mary, my heavenly mother. Help me to be a good priest.
The convoy moved slowly into the dawn. It moved cautiously all that day against high seas. When night settled down again in the North Atlantic, 4 chaplains were tired. So they relaxed around a table. They said casual things.
It's your deal, Poling.
They weren't thinking about the gray waters now.
I'll pass, Washington.
They were merely looking at cards.
I'll bid 4 clubs.
Making small, pleasant calculations.
Yeah, I guess I'll pass.
And then...
Let me see. I think I'll bid 4 hearts.
Stand by. All hands alert. Submarines contacted. Gun crews in position. All hands prepare for emergency. Stand by.
You heard the word stand by. You forget a bridge game. You forget the overturned chair, the sweater you left lying on the edge of your bunk. You forget the 100 details like the letter you were writing and the shoe you were shining. Yes, you may even forget your life jacket. You're just one among hundreds who ran out on a cold deck. And you stood there, staring out into the dark, waiting.
Doesn't look so good, Jackson.
No, sir.
How many did they say?
Well, they just said submarines.
Must be a pack of them. Are the gun crews ready?
Yes, sir. The men are lined along the deck, waiting.
Waiting. That's the part I don't like.
What's that, sir?
The waiting. It's like being in a dark room. You don't know whether you're going to be hit in the head or the ribs.
Well, the bearing is 035, sir. It looks like the ribs, perhaps.
It could be any angle. In a wind like this, those subs could patrol us for 48 hours and call the shot at any angle. What's our position?
We're out of line, sir.
I thought so. What are we making?
3 knots, sir. Roughly.
3 knots. Running out of formation at 3 knots. You know what this means, Jackson?
I'm afraid I do, sir. The Dorchester's going to be easy pickings if any sub decides to operate tonight.
So you waited like a man in a dark room. You kept staring out over the rail into the dark. You couldn't believe that out there under those wild, cold waters, men were waiting for you, timing you, measuring you. You waited an hour. You waited 2 hours. And then gradually you relaxed. You breathed again. You were normal again. After all, someone could be mistaken. Could be a false alarm. You took one more look over the rail. Then you walked slowly back to the stateroom. Watched some of the fellas for a minute. Walked over to your bunk. Sat down. Ran your fingers through your hair. Searched for a cigarette. Found it. Lit it. Lay back on your bunk. Yes, probably was a false alarm. Like a live, bubbling, murderous fish, it was coming.
Stand by.
Like a tiger shark, it had spotted you. Here it comes. Here it comes. All right, citizens. Let it be said quietly. Let it be said without the noise and confusion of men jumping over the side of a stricken ship. Let it be said without the shouting of boys as they watched the cold sea coming up to meet them in the dark. Let us say only the Dorchester was gaping with a wound from which she would never heal. Right now, it's getting more quiet. The lifeboats are pulling slowly away. The Dorchester is settling slowly. 4 chaplains strapped in their life jackets are standing on the deck of that stricken ship.
Are you okay, Poling?
Fine, Washington. How about you, Rabbi?
So far, so good. And you, Fox?
I'm all right.
Well, she's going fast.
All the lifeboats are gone. We got most of the fellas over the side.
Wait a minute. Look at this kid.
I can't die. I can't die.
Take it easy, son. Where's your life jacket?
I lost it. I can't die, chaplains. I can't.
He lost his life jacket.
Look, over there. 3 more kids without their life jackets. Son, listen, son. Pay attention to me.
Here. Yes, sir.
Can you swim, son?
No, sir. None of us can swim, sir.
We're afraid, sir. We're afraid to go over the side.
I see.
And no life jackets.
Well, chaplains?
Yes. You're right.
Of course. It's the only way.
I'll take this lad, Father. You and Paulie.
This boy's mine.
Here, son. Quickly. Come on, stand up. Stand up straight.
Now. All right, lad.
Yes, sir.
Raise your arms.
Okay.
No, higher, higher. You're going to be all right. You've got to be all right.
My name is Fred Penkler, quartermaster on board the Dorchester. My address is 526 Pennsylvania Avenue, Brooklyn, New York.
My name is John Mahoney, United States Coast Guard Reserve.
My name is O'Keefe, merchant seaman. We saw it, all of us. We saw the 4 chaplains give their own life jackets to men that didn't have any. And when our lifeboat drifted away, we saw the chaplains kneeling together on the slanting deck. They were kneeling like that when the ship went down.
Yes, the bed was 4 hearts. It was the complete, the ultimate bed a man can make. The bed was 4 human hearts. What will be our bed tonight, citizens? Will we be honest with ourselves for one moment this night? Will we search our individual hearts and come up with the beautiful answer, the answer we know is right? Will we sit at the broad table of this, our beloved land, and play the game according to the rules of Him who is the eternal God and Father of all mankind? What say you, player on the north? What say you, player on the south? What say you, players on the east and west? Will we look tonight into the eyes of our fellow man, whoever he may be, and bid a portion of old pride or stale prejudice or ancient hate? Or will we remember that night of February 3rd, 1943, when a ship went down 90 miles south of Greenland? Will we remember that moment when the ship was poised for the final plunge? That moment when the miracle of man's love for his fellow man converted her slippery deck once and forever into a great altar from which 4 men offered their gallant souls to God? Will we?
Tonight on Words at War, we've brought you a portion of Captain Elwood C. Nance's book, Faith of Our Fighters. The radio dramatization was by Father Timothy Mulvey. The 4 chaplains were James Monks, Chaplain Washington, Carl Emery, Chaplain Poling, Ted Jewett, Chaplain Fox, and Martin Blaine was Chaplain Good. Our narrator was Lamont Johnson. The music was arranged and played by William Meader, and the production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Next week, Words at War will present the radio dramatization of the Stalin Prize novel The Rainbow by Wanda Wasilewska. This series of programs is brought to you in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime by the National Broadcasting Company and the independent radio stations associated with the NBC network. Jack Costello speaking. This is the National Broadcasting Company. Words at War. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime, presents another program in the series Words at War, dramatizing the most representative books to come out of this great world conflict. Tonight, Wanda Wasilewska's Stalin Prize novel, The Rainbow. Listen.
Do you hear that? That sound is a body swinging from a gallows. The body of a 16-year-old boy. It has been there for a month. Frozen stiff in the bitterest winter the Ukraine has known. The Nazis hanged the boy as a warning to the villagers and to the guerrillas who struck with silent fury from the bordering forests. I want you to meet one of these guerrillas. She is Olyena Kostyuk, a woman in her early 40s. Her hair is graying at the temples. Her face is plain, rough-hewn, a common peasant face. She's being questioned at the German headquarters by Captain Kurt Werner, a German by birth, a Nazi by breed.
So you are the guerrilla who has come back to the village. You, an old woman. Why did you come back? What were you sent for?
Nobody sent me. I came on my own.
Why? Answer me. Why? Very well, I will tell you why. You saw that all this guerrilla business was nonsense. You didn't want to take part in it anymore.
No, I couldn't anymore.
Why?
I came home to bear my child.
You? Having a child at your time of life? Where's your husband?
He was killed in the war. I joined the guerrillas, but I didn't tell them about my baby. Nobody knew. Oh, how my husband and I dreamed of this child that was denied us. And now it's come, and he isn't here to see it. I worked with the guerrillas until it was difficult for me to move about. I returned to the village to give birth to my child in peace.
In peace, bah. Who blew up the bridge last week?
I did it alone.
You lied. We know all about it. You'd better talk.
I did it alone.
Where are the guerrillas you worked with? Don't just stare. Answer me. Very well, Olyena Kostyuk. I can see the sweat running across your temples. It is painful for you to stand, Well, you will stand till you are ready to talk. Who's that?
Just me, Kurt.
Prussia. Why did you come here? What's the matter?
Well, I was bored. I had to come out.
I want you to have lunch with me, Kurt, darling.
I cannot. Don't you see I'm busy?
With this old woman?
This old woman is a guerrilla.
She's about to have a baby any minute.
Will you please let us alone, Prussia?
Kurt, let me stay. I'll be quiet. Maybe this will be fun.
Very well. Now, you Russian swine, we know you have come from the forest. We know that you have been sent to the fire.
How long is it now that I've been standing on my feet?
Answer me.
2 hours?
Where are they hiding?
3 hours?
The guerrillas.
4 hours?
Where are they hiding?
Oh, my body
Many
aches
are
so
they?
fearfully.
Answer me.
My thighs are as
Where
heavy
are
as
the guerrillas
stones.
hiding?
The child within me presses in my lungs. It's so difficult for me to breathe. So unbearable to stand on my feet. The room has become dark as though a fog was settling in it. I can hardly see that form in front of me. Is it a man? And there, sitting comfortably in the chair that Prussia with that stupid smile of hers, so warm in her fur coat, sold herself to a Nazi for a fur coat and a pair of silk stockings. Oh, no. I must not faint. No, not here. Not here.
How long were you with...
Does he think I'll ever tell him where our boys are?
You want to throw your life away? Remember, you are a mother.
Oh, those questions.
Well?
I know nothing of the guerrillas. They went away. I don't know where.
Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Take her to the barn. Let her freeze. Tomorrow she will change her mind and talk.
Yo, woman, stand up.
Huh? What do you want in the middle of the night? I've been questioned.
Take your shoes off and get up. The captain says you need some exercise. Come on, Hans. Help me drag her out. Come on. Get on your feet. Come on, woman. Don't hold back. Come on. Come on, let's take it.
So, do you see those gallows over there where your Russian brother hangs? You'll run there and back here till we tell you to stop. And when we think you're slow, this bayonet will speed you up. Now run. I like her, Fritz. The old woman runs like a plow horse with her nose to the ground.
I'm freezing. It's cold enough to drive a man out of his senses. If we keep the old woman out here any longer, she'll be dead by morning, and she won't be able to talk.
The captain says she's got to talk. Maybe another prod with this bayonet.
You've gotten enough blood out of her. The snow is red under her feet. Let's throw her back into the barn and get to headquarters where it is warm.
Wait a minute. What's that?
I don't hear anything.
No, I'm sure. It's coming from the side of the barn.
Eh?
Come on, let's look. Aha. What did I tell you? One of them trying to help her. Probably arranging for an escape.
It is a young boy.
What difference does it make? They're all the same.
Are you going to shoot him?
Well, I'm not going to stand here in the snow and look at him. Stand aside. Now, let's see what he's got there. He was bringing us something.
It is a crust of bread.
Captain Werner's headquarters. Yeah. It's for you, Captain. The Herr Major.
Good morning, Herr Major. Oh, yes, but I will. Yes, but... Oh, the grain? Yes. Goodbye, Herr Major. What does he think I am? Has he tried to question these Russian blocks? I'd like to see whether he'd get a word out of them. He calls me 3 times a day. What information do I have from the guerrilla? What about the grain? Sergeant, did the men carry out my orders last night?
Yes, Captain.
Did that Kostchukun speak?
No, Captain.
That all you can say? Yes? No?
There was an incident last night, Captain.
What?
One of the children tried to bring some bread to the woman. He was shot.
Good. What did you do with the body?
That is the incident, Captain. It has disappeared.
How is that?
The guards came here to report. Left the body in a ditch outside. When they went back for the boy, it was gone, Captain.
Dolts! Blunderers! Idiots! Find the one who has hidden the body.
Yes.
Wait. First I must get grain. The Herr Major says I must get grain. The army must be fed. Send that mujik Peter Gablik in here.
Yes, Captain.
They put me in command of this village because I could speak Russian. They thought it would be easier for me to get things out of these people. They're as unyielding as granite. Threaten them, torture them. They say nothing. They look at you and their eyes say, wait. The day will come. The day will come.
You wanted me, Captain Werner?
Where is the grain delivery I was promised, Gablik?
Well, I'm doing the best I can. But there isn't any grain.
Don't act stupid. There was a record harvest. They've hidden the grain. I thought you knew these people. You ought to know the hiding places.
Oh, but the storm, the frost. You can't find anything in this weather.
Gablik, I saved you from the Red Army.
Oh, yes, Captain Werner.
You owe your life to me.
Yes, Captain Werner, yes. But I have helped you, haven't I? Didn't I inform you about Elenia Kostya?
I have nothing from her yet.
She's not told you about the guerrillas,
No.
has
I will make her talk. What about the grain?
she? Well, I have a plan, but I must have military support.
You have my support.
Well, then, there must be an order issued. The people must meet in the schoolhouse.
Silence! Shut up! We can hear you. Go ahead. I have here a paper.
Go ahead and read it.
Silence! The inhabitants of this village have not yet delivered the tax demanded. That is to say, the grain. Whoever does not fulfill this obligation to the German army within 3 days will be subject to...
Go on, traitor.
To the death penalty. Wait, there is another matter. The dead body of a young criminal who tried to feed Olenia Kostyuk last night is missing. Whoever knows anything about the criminal should report to the German commander.
Can we leave now?
No. There will be 5 hostages. If the guilty are not found within 3 days, and if the delivery of the grain does not begin within 3 days, the hostages will be hanged.
Gablik, you've been at headquarters half the night now. Why don't you go home? Isn't your work finished?
Yes, Captain Werner, but there's a storm, you know. It's much warmer here than it is in my house.
You're shivering with more than the cold. Are you afraid to go home?
No. Captain, it might be wiser, though, to let me have an escort. Even one soldier?
Can't spare any men. Besides, it's past the curfew time. None of these villagers will dare stick their heads out. They know you're under my protection. Go home, Gabriel.
Yes, Captain. I'm going. I risk my neck for those Nazis, and they treat me like a dog. Not even a guard to protect me. That captain thinks everyone's afraid of him. I'm under his protection. What's that? Oh, it's nothing. Only a bush. For a second I thought it moved. Oh, I guess it's only the wind.
You brought the traitor. Good.
Please.
Stand up, Gaffney. Stand up like a man.
That's asking too much of him.
Don't hurt me, please. Please, don't hurt me.
Who's going to hurt the old man?
Please
We've
don't.
just brought you here to give you some information.
All right, what do you want? No.
This afternoon you wanted to know who hid the body of the boy.
Criminal, he called my boy. What was his crime? To bring a crust of bread to a tortured
Well,
woman.
I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
That's the boy's mother, Gaplik. She'll tell you where his body lies. Go ahead, tell him.
Yes, I'll tell you, Gaplik. I followed those Nazi murderers. When they went in to report, I snatched up my boy from where they'd left him, lying in the road. I carried him home. He lies buried under the threshold, where your Nazi friends will never find his body.
They made me do it.
Let's not waste time with the trial.
He must have a trial. Please.
Question. Peter Goplik, you're on trial for collaboration with the Germans.
Oh, God.
What have you to say?
Oh, God, help me. God, preserve my soul, please. God,
What's the matter? Lost your tongue?
Oh, please.
You spoke well enough at the schoolhouse.
Peter Goplik, you were a kulak and a bandit.
Oh, yes, I was, but...
You were
but I
against
didn't
the
mean it.
Soviets from the very start,
Yes,
weren't
I know
you?
I was, but I didn't
And as
mean
soon
it.
as the Germans came, you said
I
that.
had
He
to, I had
served
to. I
them well, the carrion.
Peter Goplik, you deny your guilt?
No, I don't deny it, but have mercy, please.
What is our
please,
verdict?
Please.
Death.
No,
Are there any against this verdict?
No, please. No. I'm pissed against you. I'll never do it again. Please don't kill me. Don't kill me, please.
Can't even die like a man.
Oh, so tired of this thing. Theodosia! Theodosia, isn't my tea ready yet? Would you like to have some tea with me, Theodosia? Well, can't you even say one word to me? You know, you'd better be pleasant to me or I'll tell Kurt your secret.
My secret?
I thought that would open your mouth. Well, Theodosia, I know all about your visits to the gully where your dead son lies. You know it's against the law to bury a soldier of the Red Army.
Against what law? It's just another horror thought up by the fiends you consort with. Not even the dead is sacred to them.
Well, if you will be nice to me, I may keep your secret. Look, have I ever done you any harm? Have I ever harmed anybody in this village? No. But none of you will speak to me. The children run from me as though I had the plague.
What you've got is worse than the plague.
What did you want me to do, Star? I never had anything, and now I've got a chance. Captain Werner will take me with him to Dresden.
Your husband is a lieutenant in the Red Army.
I haven't heard from Theodosia in months. He must have been killed. And then what's the difference? I like Captain Werner. He's nice. He brings me things.
Furs and stockings stolen from our people, just like he's taken my house and made me scrub for you. But the day will come.
Oh, you're such a fool. You still dream the Red Army will come back. Don't you know the Germans will conquer everything?
They'll never conquer us. Our boys will come back. Then you'll see. You'll see.
That's Captain Werner. All right, Theodosia, you can go out to your kitchen. Kurt, darling, come in here. What took you so long? Here, let me help you off with your coat.
That old fool, Gablick. Takes him hours to get a few figures down on paper. Then he had the nerve to ask for an armed escort. As if anyone in this village would dare lay a hand on him when they know he's under my protection.
Stupid old Gablick.
I'm tired.
Are you?
Oh, the Amayor called again. Tomorrow I must get that information from that Koschuk woman. Gorilla.
Well, think about it tomorrow, Kurt.
Aren't you going to kiss me? I'm cold.
This blasted village knows nothing but blizzards. You, housekeeper.
Yes, Captain?
Be sure you have enough wood for the fire. I want to wake in the morning and see.
Yes, Captain. I'll get you your wood for you.
Fedosia, Kravchuk.
Who's that? No. No, it can't be. You're from the Red Army.
Don't you remember me?
Russia, Lieutenant Russia.
Yes, quickly. Quickly into the woodshed.
You've come at last. How long we've waited. Your wife.
I know. Never mind her. Please, there isn't much time. I've been hiding for hours. There's some information I must have.
Yes, everything I know.
Where do they keep their ammunition?
You're going to attack.
Yes, now look. I have this map of the village. I'll throw my flashlight on it.
Yes.
Tell me, where are the guns?
Here, right here on the square, by the church.
Mm-hmm. How many?
Let me see. Yes, 4 guns. And here at the edge of the village, there are different guns, smaller ones.
Anti-aircraft?
I think so. They point upward, little thin guns.
Yes, any machine guns?
Oh, yes, all along these houses. They've made holes in the walls for the machine guns.
How many men?
About 200, I think. Will you attack soon? You must. They've taken 5 hostages. In 3 days, they'll be hanged. Oh, we'll keep up our spirits. We know you'll come. But it must be soon. You understand? It must be soon.
Yes, Fedosia. It will be soon. It hasn't been easy for us. But we'll wipe these beasts from our land. Who stays in your house?
The commander, Captain Werner.
Anyone else?
Your wife, Prussia.
Time will come. Your information has been very valuable, Fedosia.
And only written in time. Do you know they have arrested Olenia Kostyuk?
Olenia?
Yes, they've thrown her into the old barn at the end of the road. She is with child. Her child may be born tonight, and no one can go to her. No one can help her.
We'll make them pay, Fedosia. I'll be back. So, till then, keep your silence.
Good morning, Captain Werner.
Good morning. Is that quarters phone?
Yes, sir.
Why didn't you call me?
I was ordered not to.
Ordered? What did they call?
Well, they wanted to know whether the arrested woman had made a statement.
And what did you say?
I told them you weren't able to get a statement out of her.
You will not make any reports until I tell you, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Has there been any grain delivered?
No, sir.
There's Gablik. He said he knew these people.
He's not yet reported, sir.
Well, what are you standing there for? Get him. What about the woman? Did you bring her here?
Yes, sir. She has a child, sir.
Oh. Send her in.
All right. Go inside.
Come in, Olyena Kostyuk. Here, let me help you to this chair. So, you've born a child. Boy or girl?
Son.
Oh, you sound thirsty. Here. Have a drink of water. That's enough. You have a healthy, living son. Good. You would like to keep him alive, of course.
What?
Last night somebody tried to bring you bread. Who was it?
I don't know.
Think. It was a boy about 10 or 11 years old. One of the villagers' children.
No, they all have children. I don't know who it was.
All right. Where do you think the guerrillas might be now?
I don't know. Somewhere in the forest.
There are many forests around here. Which forest?
That's all I know. In the forest.
When you came to the village, which road did you take?
I don't remember. There was snow all around.
Listen, woman. You're a mother now. You have a son. You want him to grow up. You're a mother. You want your son strong and healthy.
I have a son. I have him here wrapped in my shawl.
You want your son strong and healthy.
I keep him warm against my bosom. I feel his heart beat against my hand. I see his tiny round red face. I see his little button of a nose. When was it? Last night? I thought it was death tearing at me, but it was life. It was my son. It was fulfillment.
What is the sin?
My son.
Listen to me.
I have a son.
Listen to me, Olyena Kostyuk. What is the sense in suffering when you can live peacefully with your son? There's no point in struggling. The Red Army's as good as smashed. The war's almost over. Your guerrillas in the hills have no chance of escape. I will forget that you ever worked with him. All I want you to do is to answer a few questions truthfully.
I have told you all I know.
You might at least consider your son. You have no right to take away his life.
What do you mean?
By your silence, you condemn yourself and your son. Look, I'm going to light this cigarette. When I have finished smoking it, I want your answer. Think it over.
Captain Werner?
What is it now, Sergeant?
Kaplik is gone. He is nowhere to be found.
Idiot! First the boy's body disappears and now that mujik.
He must have left the village last night.
What kind of sentries do I have? Is it as easy as that for a man to escape?
Well, there was a blizzard last night.
I knew that sniveling old fool was not to be trusted. Now I have this stone of a woman to deal with. Look at her. A day-old child in her arms. You'd think she would collapse by this time. You'd think she'd cry out for mercy, at least for a child. Well, woman, have you made up your mind?
I don't know anything.
Filthy scum! I treat you like a human being, and this is your answer. I'll show you. Sergeant, take the brat. Put it on the desk. Hold the woman. There's just one bullet between life and death. This is your only son.
I have many sons.
What are you saying?
There, in the forest. They're all my sons. My sons. This was my son. His body, whose face is a gaping wound, whose little hands are still clenched, whose tiny feet are still pink and white. You have died, my son, but in the forest, they still live. Hundreds of them. Men and women and boys. They live. And their sons will live in peace.
Captain Werner speaking. Yes, Major. I will get the information. Yes, I'm in the midst of questioning her now. No. There's no need to send anyone. Yes, I will immediately. No. Does nothing move you? I ask you for the last time. Where are the guerrillas?
I do not know.
Don't you even value your own life?
It doesn't matter now.
Sergeant!
Ja, Kapitän.
Take her out! Execute her!
At the square, sir.
No! There are enough rotting bodies around. Throw the woman and the child into the river!
I'll make one less Nazi. Edosia Kravchuk.
Who's that?
It's me, Lieutenant Zarosha.
You've come back sooner than I dared hope.
Yes. Is my wife in there?
Yes, she's alone, Captain Werner.
Yes, I know.
What about the sentry?
There is no sentry. Prussia. Wake up, Prussia. Prussia.
What do you... Hirosh! No!
I must get to German headquarters, Fedosia. That was a signal for my men.
Wait, let me come with you.
No, you can't come out in the midst of the battle.
You'll need me. I can help tend the wound.
Quickly, then. Quickly, it's almost daylight. Stay back here, Fedosia. Keep out of range. How's it going, men?
We've surprised their outpost batteries, Lieutenant Zarosha. We're also rounding up the Germans asleep in the cottages. There must be quite a few of them barricaded in the headquarters building. As you can see, Lieutenant, they're pouring out a hellish fire. We haven't been able to break through.
We've got to break through. The sun will be up in a minute. Grenades might do it. If a man could get close enough.
It's impossible through that fire, Lieutenant.
Now. Listen, men. I want you to keep on fighting. Fire!
No matter what happens, keep on fighting and firing.
What are you going to do?
I have a few presents for a Nazi captain and his fanatics. A bundle of hand grenades.
Nothing. Do you want them to pay with nothing for what they've done? Let them live. Let them see their German troops rolled back, their mates die in the ditches with no one to give them so much as a drop of water. Let them see their towns and villages blasted to the ground. Dying is so easy. We will let them live 100 years. Let them beg death to come. And even death will turn away from this German carrion. Look, Fedosia. A rainbow. There in the east. A rainbow over our village. A rainbow. That's a good omen.
Tonight on Words at War, we've brought you The Rainbow by Wanda Wasilewska. The radio dramatization was by Stanley Field. The cast included Ida Reese Marin, Francis Cheney, Jeanette Dowling, Peter Capell, Earl Hammond, and Kermit Murdoch. The music was arranged and played by William Meader, and the production was under the direction of Anton M. Leader. Next week, Words at War will present the radio dramatization of Can Do, the story of the Seabees. This series of programs is brought to you in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime by the National Broadcasting Company and the independent radio stations associated with the NBC network. This is the National Broadcasting Company. Words at War.
We dig and hack and trench and grade, and each man according to his trade. We say, can do. Through broiling day and chilling night, we toil and sweat and work and fight for yank and gob. From northern lights to desert sun, in all engagements called upon to do the job. The war is born, the days are long. But, brother, do not get us wrong. We are the crew with pride enough by foreign seas and plenty tough, though just CBs who say, can do.
The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime, presents another program in the widely discussed series Words at War, dramatizing the most representative books to come out of this great world conflict. Tonight's dramatization is based on William Bradford Huey's stirring tale of the Navy Seabees, Can Do.
I'm standing on 34th and 6th in New York. First time I've ever been here. I'm still in uniform, but there's a discharge pin in my pocket, and I'm looking up. You have to see the Empire State Building to really know how big it is. 102 stories of steel and stone. It puts a crick in your neck after a while looking up at the top. But you know, I've seen jobs that took a lot more doing. Yeah, when they built the Empire State, nobody was popping at them with guns. In the Seabees, it's part of the work. And when the work is done, you don't look up into the clouds at it. Most of the time, it's right down at your feet. Maybe it's an airstrip. Maybe it's deluxe foxholes. Doesn't sound like much, does it?
No, it's nothing. Nothing at all. But without us, the Navy would be in one sweet hole. Ask the Navy. They admit it.
And why not? We're in the middle of the hottest air war, sea war, et cetera, war. But it's also history's greatest construction war. Before any of the glamour boys fly high or become expendable in a PT boat, somebody has to do a lot of building. The Seabees do it for the Navy. And this is how the war feels to the Seabees. At first, there were no Seabees, no construction battalions, no Seabees on December 7th. But there were thousands of darn good civilians working for the Navy. Guys like Dan Teeters and his crew on Wake Island. They found out why civilians were ducks out of water when the chips were down.
You wanted to see me, Jim?
Yeah.
Got no time for talk.
It's about your wife.
My wife? Someone shooting his mouth off?
Now, easy, Dan. You have a very charming wife.
So what?
As the only woman on Wake, well, she's become a sort of barometer. You know what I mean?
Look, I'm a busy man.
I'm coming to the point. Your crew's been doing a lot of talking about mysterious planes, haven't they?
Mysterious, my eye. They're Japs, and you know it.
Maybe they are, but we have no proof.
Okay, but how about the ships we keep seeing? Never answer identification requests, do they? Do you wonder why my men are worried?
If you were in my place, Dan, what would you do?
Break out the rifles, one to every man. Assign a couple of instructors.
Impossible. If something did happen, you could be executed under the rules of war.
Rules of war.
Now, look, Dan. Just as long as your wife stays on the island, the men figure nothing is going to happen. Do you agree?
Yeah, but what...
I want you to ask your wife to take a walk every day.
A walk? Why?
When she takes her walk, she's to be in sight of the men. A half-mile a day should do the trick. It would cover most of the construction area. So what about it?
Okay. My wife's walking will keep trouble away, then she walks. She could use a little exercise anyway. Been putting on some weight lately.
You know what happened at Wake? When the Japs came in, the civilians couldn't fight. And didn't. No matter what the movies said. So right then and there, the Navy decided to form the Seabees, and the call went out for men who wanted to build 2 roads. A road across the Atlantic to Berlin, and one across the Pacific to Tokyo. 100,000 men answered the call. Timberjacks, cat skinners, dog wallopers, sandhogs, mountain movers, straight spinning characters from everywhere. They're the oldest men in the service, averaging 31 years. And when they hit Guadalcanal and met the Marines...
Pick him up and lay him down. Get along. Come on, come on. This ain't parade ground.
Seabees need any help? We got some spare crutches around.
Listen, when we ask for help from you Marines, we'll put up a sign. If you can read English.
Hold it, Pop.
What did you say?
Just called you Pop.
Listen, sonny boy.
Hey, we must be running out of men at home. Hey, Pop, didn't you get your wars mixed up?
And watch your false teeth, Pop. You lose them when the next bomb goes off.
That settles it. You Marines want to know why we come to Guadalcanal? Yeah. Okay. You asked for it, so here it is. The big boys decided that you guys needed some protection. So they sent in the Seabees. Now, we want you to listen to a little song we know you fellers are going to take to in a big way. Hey, Jackson. Here I am. Your tonsils okay?
Yeah, sure, Chief.
You men ready?
Sure, we're ready.
Let's do our stuff. Start us off, Jack.
Okay. Do, 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 do. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, it used to be the Leathernecks, but now it's all Seabees.
And when we reach the pearly gates and stand at heaven's scene, there'll be a CB waiting there to greet the first Marine.
And while we argued with the Marines about who would win the war first, we began to work on the airfield. Work and fight. It was a steady diet. The Jap planes provided the spice.
And you got all the figures, boys?
Yes, sir. We lost 7 fighters yesterday.
Did you see it, sir?
Yes, of course.
Their bombers come over. While our fighters get after them, 1 or 2 bomb the strip.
Mm-hmm.
And our boys use up their fuel supply and crack up when they come in for a landing. Because we can't fill the holes fast enough.
Well, we're changing that right now. What kind of bombs are they using?
I have that. 500-pounders.
How much of a hole does a 500-pounder tear in the steel mat?
Just about 1,600 square feet.
Uh-huh. That's the only type of bomb they use?
So far.
Well, it's a cinch to replace torn matting, but the crater below is another thing. Tell me, how many loads of a 2.5-ton truck will fill the hole?
It takes 4.
4. Well, then we'll get units of 4 trucks, fill them with gravel, and place them under cover near the strip. Every man will dig his foxhole along the landing area. If the nips come down to strafe, there'll be a hole not far away.
Sounds good. Sure does.
Well, in my book, we should be able to fill a crater in 40 minutes. Our planes can stay up for more than an hour. The raid never lasts that long. So that gives us plenty of time. 40 minutes. 40 minutes or less.
It was less. I asked Lieutenant Al Pratt what it was like when the Nips replaced their planes with artillery from the hills.
Shell craters are more dangerous to work on than bomb craters. You have a feeling that no 2 bombs ever hit in the same place, but not shells. A good old Jap trick was to give us just enough time to start repairing a hole and then fire a second shell. All you can do is hope you can scramble away before it goes bing. It's a gamble. But I understand that this kind of gambling doesn't go over big with the insurance companies.
The work on the canal went on. Good men died, but the strips were built. More than 500,000 feet of signal wire laid and operated. Roads, bridges, submarine cable, warehouses. Everything needed to turn the canal into a real base. And the Marines? Well, they put up a sign that shows what they really think.
So when we reach the Isle of Japan with our caps at a jaunty tilt, we'll enter the city of Tokyo on the roads the CB's built.
11 months later, we were reaching up the slot of the Solomons for the big Jap air base at Munda, on New Georgia Island. We hit Rendova within shelling range of Munda. It rained. It rained for 8 days and nights. It seemed like the Pacific Ocean was over our heads being let out through 1,000,000 sprinklers.
We didn't look like men. We looked like slimy frogs. When the mud came up to our knees, we got rid of our clothes. Clothes ain't no good in mud.
I tried to dig a foxhole at night. As fast as I moved the mud, the water came in. Boy, I never want to take a bath again. When this is all over, and it's bound to be someday, I'm going to build my house in the desert. The Japs kept bombing us at Munda while we unloaded. One of their bombs hit an ammunition dump. Before everything went sky high, I remember seeing a guy nearby who was trying to light a cigarette. I remember laughing at him. After the ground stopped shaking like jelly, I looked around for him, and I didn't laugh anymore. About 10 feet away, there were 2 hands laying close together. That's all that was left. Just 2 hands. And the left one held a burning cigarette.
And that's how the Seabees helped take Munda. Give a CB a pair of pliers and a roll of baling wire, and there's almost nothing you can't do with it. In August 1942, 40 Seabees came to Kissy Flats, West Africa. They called themselves the Dirty 40, and they were the first Seabees to serve on the other side of the Atlantic. There were docks to be built, and little equipment to do it with. The British were skeptical.
I say there, Lieutenant.
Oh, hello there.
You really aren't serious about working today?
Why not? It's not raining. It's not snowing either.
No, but it's 140 degrees.
It's pretty hot, huh?
It's terrible. Do you expect your machinery and tools to arrive soon?
Well, that all depends.
Depends? No, depends on what?
On the German U-boats. There's too many of them between us and the States.
Oh, then you were really joshing me. You're going to wait, eh? Sensible thing, that. What with this heat?
Nope.
What? You aren't?
Nope.
Look, I think you better come with me, old man. A cool drink will make you feel much better. I can say it from sad experience.
You see that rusty old pile driver over there?
Huh?
We're going to use that.
Oh, but that's a steam driver. Can only operate from shore.
We're converting it to compressed air. Then we'll put it on a barge.
You're a very enthusiastic young man, Lieutenant. I don't like to dash your hopes. But even when the driver was in operation, it wasn't very successful. The harbor floor is of volcanic lava. Most of the pilings would snap off.
Oh, we know that. So I've got the boys capping the logs with iron. Even lava can't stop iron.
Ah, that's clever. Yeah, but after all, 40 men just isn't enough. Well, let's have that drink, eh?
Oh, thanks. But I have to stick here. I'm waiting for some new workmen to show up. Natives.
You can't make natives work in this heat. They have more sense.
It's just a little American magic. These.
Cigarettes? Well, the natives have smoked cigarettes for years.
Not this kind. These contain menthol. Didn't you hear the drums last night?
I couldn't help it.
It was only a couple of hours after we distributed 3 cartons with promise of more if they came to work. Then they started pounding away at the drums. They said, come to work, come to work. Good, make you feel good. You see? Magic.
Oh, rot, they won't come.
Ah, that's where you're wrong. There's about 1,000 of them out at the barracks right now. My men are having a hard time picking out the strongest.
I say, really?
I'm going over there. You want to see for yourself? Hey, what's the matter?
Do you think the Empire can obtain some of your methylated cigarettes on Lend-Lease?
Before we leave the dirty 40 at Kissy Flats, I think you'd like to know that Seabees are shrewd Yankee businessmen. They don't fall easily for a so-called bargain.
Last week, an old chief tried to rope me into buying his daughter for $8. But she wasn't my type. So then he says he'll sell me his son's wife cheap. I nixed that one, too. And then I'll be hanged if the old coot don't up and offer to sell me his own wife. If those gals were smart, they'd get together and have some ceiling prices set up. They're getting rooked now, no kidding.
Salerno was no grab bag. The Jerrys were waiting for us. And they were liquored up with 88s, dive bombers, machine guns, and all the rest. We claimed that the first American vehicle to land in Europe was a CB bulldozer, driven by Ray Calhoun of Troy, New York.
I came down the ramp and I rolled up the beach about 50 feet through the mine markers. Then I cut to the left behind a small tractor which had been landed in a small craft by the commandos. And just at that second, the British tractor hit a mine. It just disintegrated, killing the driver. And something seemed to grab me by the pants and pull me out of the dozer, twirl me around a couple of times, and plunk me on the beach. Lucky I didn't break my neck.
The worst sight that I personally saw was on Salerno Beach. The British Hampshires had cleaned out an area, and about 8 of them decided to have some tea.
Oh, Yank! Come and have a spot of tea with us.
Oh, thanks. I'll be glad to.
They had a fire going, and the water was boiling. If you forgot about the shelling, you might have thought the Tommies were having a picnic. I started walking toward them, and then I got up. The glass knocked me flat, but there wasn't a scratch on me. The Tommies had built their fire right over a landmine. I walked over. They were all dead and mangled. Tea was scattered over a wide area. I haven't been able to drink tea since then. Jim Achterhoff was a big farm boy from Iowa. And Jim died at Salerno. A burial detail found him, and we looked at him. Bob Russell was there. A Boston blue blood, about 50 years old. Finished in the same class as Senator Ed Saltonstall of Massachusetts.
There's life for you.
A fine young kid like that gets knocked off in the run-in.
Why blame yourself?
I'm not. And so are the Germans. The Germans can bomb me, torpedo me, shell me, and grenade me in 2 wars. A worthless old codger like me, and they can't kill me for nothing. And a good kid like this... justice.
It's funny how some things stick with you. Perhaps they're not important to winning the Italian campaign. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Maybe it's because I don't want to see Jim Achterhoff lying on the dirty, wet sand. I don't know. But as I left Salerno, I remember a load of Italian prisoners riding in the first amphibious trucks they'd ever seen. And how, when the duck headed suddenly out into the water, the prisoners jumped up and crossed themselves. Then sat down, expecting death at any moment. I can't forget a young Seabee, one of our youngest, who was looking down in the mouth.
You sick, kid?
No, I'm all right.
Come on, get it off your chest. I'll listen. Be glad to.
The folks came from around here. Since I was this big, they've been telling me what a good thing the States are. But they figure Italy's good, too. At least it used to be good. You understand?
Sure. Italy is good, but the States are better.
Yeah, that's it. They never wanted to come back, but we used to sing songs about Italy. All about the girls dancing on the grapes when they were making wine. That's okay, isn't it?
Sure, kid, sure. My old man sings Irish songs. It's okay.
My mom and pop. Well, they're good folks. Americans.
They must be.
They're always laughing and singing. Pop always used to say it's good to laugh. It's healthy.
It is. Good medicine. Best there is.
They didn't want me to go.
Is that what you wanted to tell me?
Yeah. Mom and Pop are good Americans, but I'm their only kid. You understand?
Mothers and fathers are the same. They want their kids with them. It's natural. Even when they have more than one and they're grown up.
You mean that?
I wouldn't string you along.
I know they're proud. They're prouder than anybody on the whole block. I've been getting letters. The neighbor next door, he writes them. Pop still goes to night school, but his English ain't so good yet. He says he wants me to fight hard and all that. But it's only a letter. Maybe he's just saying it. I get a headache figuring and figuring.
You don't have to, kid. Look, do you think my folks wanted me to go off and get killed? No. Americans don't look for trouble. But once it comes, we face it. Some can't see it right away, and we wait until trouble clips us on the chin. But that doesn't make us bad Americans. Just a little sleepy. Old folks particularly. They'd like you back, sure. But they're proud anyway, like you said.
I'm glad. My pop's got a head on his shoulders. You know, in the last letter the neighbor wrote for him... You want to know about it?
I'm listening.
Well, Pop said that I'm fighting so the people can laugh. I never figured it that way, but Pop says that if people laugh, they won't get sore. There won't be any more wars. That's not crazy.
No. Makes sense.
Pop says that the reason I'm fighting is because some guys are trying to keep everybody else from laughing.
That's one way to put it.
I think it's a good idea to make people laugh. I guess the guys who use the big words won't like it, but I'll go along with Pop. Yeah. I'm going to kill Jerry so that people can laugh. I like it.
I like it, too.
Seabees go for the lighter side of life. They don't shut their eyes to the war and what it does to their friends. They remember. But they'd rather talk about something else. Like what happened on a certain Pacific island. The natives were mopping up a few Japs. They found a goat which the Japs had brought in. It was a strange animal to them. They went to their chief to find out whether they ought to kill the goat.
What manner of beast is it? Very strange, Majesty. He has fierce eyes and long horns, a shaggy beard. Will eat anything and stinks terribly.
The animal must be spared. Do not kill him. He is what the Americans call a sea beast.
My last stop before the States and a discharge was with the Seabees on Attu. And that's where I heard the story of Ito. Ito the enemy. Ito the Jap. He and another Jap had tried to commit suicide with grenades held to the stomach. Ito's was a dud, but his pal's wasn't, and the blast shattered Ito's leg. He lay there in the Attu tundra until a couple of Seabees came along.
Boy, he's a lousy mess.
The one over here is finished.
I think this guy's still alive.
Then we'd better take that grenade out of his hand.
Yeah. I got it.
See, I told you.
Oh, what'll we do with him?
Knock him off.
No, let's take him back.
Not me. I'm not going near that leg. That's gas gangrene.
Oh, the CO will be glad to get a prisoner.
So what? This guy won't last out the day.
We might come around for a few hours. Go ahead if you want to.
Well, I never killed a guy like this.
Getting a conscience?
Well, he's a Jap, ain't he? It's just that...
That he can't fight back, huh?
Well, he'd knock me off if I was laying there like him.
Yeah, but you ain't.
All right, I got a conscience. Let's take him back. But I don't want to touch his leg.
Well, don't worry. We'll put him on these boards. You don't have to touch him. But unless you got a cold, you're sure going to smell him.
They brought the shattered piece of Nippon back to the LST. Doc Stimson looked at him. Kovitz and McCroskey, pharmacist mates, looked at him. The anti-aircraft gunners looked at him. Then Doc Stimson left to get the operating room ready. In the meantime, Ito had come around and fearfully answered the questions of the intelligence officer.
What is your name?
Ito.
What is your rank?
I'm a private in the Empress forces.
Have you ever seen Americans before?
No, but have heard of them.
What have you heard?
Americans torture and kill our prisoners.
Who told you that?
My officer.
Do you believe it?
Yes.
Then why do you think you are here? Our men could have killed you when they found you.
I was brought here for torture in machine.
What machine?
Machine that will cut off my ears, pull out my teeth, and then cut me into million pieces.
That is why you tried to kill yourself?
Yes, but God's held me in this favor.
I see. Would you believe that we are trying to save your life?
No. Americans torture and kill all prisoners.
Anything of interest?
Oh, no, not much, Doc. His name is Ito, and he's convinced that we're going to murder him.
Yeah. It will be murder if he lies here much longer.
I'm for throwing him over the side.
Yeah, I'm suffocated.
I didn't join up to save no Japs.
Cut it out. Get back to your posts. Yeah, help me with him, will you? Plasma?
Given. Doc, I know how you feel about this, but that's American blood he's got.
I know. Maybe it's more than he's worth.
Somebody gave that blood for us.
Anesthetic?
All set.
All right, then. Scalpel? I said scalpel. Do you hear me? Scalpel.
Here.
Retractors?
Doc, I don't feel so good.
Insubordination if you leave. Give me the saw. Well, it's finished. You can remove the straps now.
America.
Take them away, boys, and throw that leg over the side.
Well, I'm going to be sick, but I'll do it.
There was a lot of grumbling up on deck. The guys felt that Doc should have cut it off right up to his chin. But when Doc came out, every man straightened up, and the look in their eyes was one of pride. Pretty soon, Ito was an institution. The boys gave him cigarettes and chocolate bars. And when Ito caught sight of Doc, he'd grab him around the legs and yell that he wanted to go to America with him. Finally, I managed to get Doc alone.
Well, it's like this. If I'd been armed and spotted Ito, I might have finished him off. He could have had another grenade. But the man who found him didn't kill him. Maybe he was soft, but probably it was for military reasons.
Well, prisoners are usually worth great risks.
The Navy could do nothing less than give him the best we had.
When you operated, did you do as good a job on Ito as you would have done on an American?
Of course. Well, naturally, I'd feel more emotional over one of our men, but I couldn't have worked more carefully on the captain than I did on that Jap.
Well, Ito seems a different sort than most Japs.
I'd say that his crude effort to show his gratitude is a hopeful sign. It might work with the whole Jap nation. We have to destroy the most diseased portion. Then, because we must live in the same world with them, we ought to help restore the remainder to physical and mental health.
There aren't many who agree with you, Doc.
I know. That's what I believe.
I'm back in the States now. A discharge pin in my pocket is hard to swallow. But the boys are carrying on as always, and that makes me feel swell. The Seabees have only one request to make. When they land in Tokyo, they want to roll down the ramp of the first landing boat. They want to drive through the rubble of Japan's Fifth Avenue. And then after they've paraded through Tokyo, the Seabees want to go back down to the beach and welcome the Marines.
Tonight on Words at War, we've brought you a dramatization of William Bradford Huey's stirring tale of the Navy Seabees, Can Do. Steve Allen adapted the book for radio. Chuck Webster was the narrator. The music was arranged and played by William Meader. Production, Garnet Garrison. Next week, Words at War will present the radio dramatization of the recent novel of Italy, Tomorrow We'll Sing, by Elliot Arnold. This series of programs is brought to you in cooperation with the Council on Books in Wartime by the National Broadcasting Company and the independent radio stations associated with the NBC network. This is the National Broadcasting Company.